Would you ever buy a rental property without even stepping foot inside? How about totally sight unseen? I did, but not for the reasons you probably think. Let me tell you what happened, as it might just change how you research real estate opportunities forever. I'm a true believer in the fact that when you overanalyze things in investing, you probably make worse decisions. The joke I always have is when I have my real estate calculator up here, I have a real estate calculator. It is very, very simple. Very simple relative to the tons and tons of pages of Excel sheets that people send me when they're analyzing real estate deals. They do it as a way of justifying the investment they're making and to make an even more expensive purchase. But I realized early on that what drives real estate values is income, less expenses, and the overall profit. If I can increase those, my real estate values will increase along with it. The best investors don't succeed because they do more research. They succeed because they're already informed and they know what to look for. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger always talked about how if you can't do it on the back of a napkin, it's probably too complicated. You should avoid it. But yet, as a society and in education, we value more. When you go to school and you have a paper assigned, here's the minimum number of pages. The number of pages should be how much to get your point across. I only had one teacher in all my years of schooling that said, you're writing too much here. That's it. Everybody else had a minimum amount of pages. Now you might sit there and say, yeah, but Paul, you didn't even visit the property. Well, I had seen the property 4 or 5 years before, but since then I had not. I was on a trip with my friend who was also the broker in the deal. And he was looking at the property. I go, hey, I know that property. He said, yeah, how do you know it? I'm like, it's right next to one of my other properties. I looked at it 5 years ago and somebody else bought it. He's like, well, that guy is selling it now. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I said, what are they asking? He told me the price. I'm like, oh, okay. It doesn't seem too bad. What are the rents? He told me the rents. Guys, keep in mind this. The property I owned that was about a quarter mile away didn't look as good, was on a main road, so it wasn't cut back like this other property, the one I wanted to buy. And our rents for not as good looking a property and on a busy road were $200 per month higher than the property right here that was nice, set back, had a pool. And I thought to myself, what the heck is going on here? Now, don't get me started, but as a third-party manager, and if you've seen my videos and you see videos in the future, I bash third-party management. But guess what? They were full. They were 96% full. Good for them on terrible fucking rents. So I looked at him and I said, okay, well, they're asking this price, make an offer. Literally right then and there, I said, make an offer. And the offer was in the millions, of course, because it was a 100-unit property. The guy said, oh, wow, right now? I said, go do it. Made the offer. They rejected it. And they said to me, Paul, you're the first offer we've gotten. So I looked at my broker friend. I said, tell me the price it needs to be for me to get this deal done. And he looked at me and said, full ask with $50,000 hard today. What that means, guys, is I'm going to give them a check for $50,000. If tomorrow, if 1 hour, if 1 minute after I send the money, I don't want to do the deal, that $50,000 is gone. And I said, it's a deal. Just like that. I hadn't seen the property in 5 years. I gave $50,000 hard that day because I knew that no matter what this property looked like, this property was worth well over double what I was paying for it. Spoiler alert, I did that deal in 2015. Right now, that property is worth over 5 times more than what I paid for it in 2015. And we only put in another 70% of the property purchase price into the property. So I'm into that property. That property is worth 3 times more than what I'm into it for. I knew what I was buying. I didn't need to see the property. And obviously, guys, it doesn't mean I just closed on it without doing an inspection. We still did an inspection. Why? Because there are things underground. There are things that I don't know I can see. But the point is, I gave that money, that $50,000 up front day one, knowing that that deal was so good, if I lost that deal, I would lose out on millions. So I was willing to pay a small fee in relative to the millions of dollars I can make to make sure I got that deal. When you have knowledge, when you have understanding, when you know the right things to look for, speed is an advantage. And guys, you've seen in real estate, you've seen in stocks that things can move quickly, especially in stocks. You need to be able to go like this and make a decision very, very quickly. People always sit there and say, oh, well, I want to make sure I think of it thoroughly. Guess what? You should think things thoroughly. But at a certain price, you can't think things thoroughly. Guys, I like thinking in extremes. Let's say you could buy a 10,000 square foot brand new built mansion on the ocean and the ask price was $1. How much time would you spend thinking about that? If any of you answered anything but I would not think about it, I would just do it, I will slap you in the face. Now, Let's go to the other extreme. Let's say the question was, would you pay $1 billion for it? You absolutely should say either absolutely not, or I have to really, really do my research on it. Do you see my point? At $1, you shouldn't even think. At $1 billion, you either say no immediately or you go do a lot of research. If you have to do a lot of research to justify the investment, it's probably not worth it, in my opinion, especially in real estate. People think that deep research leads to success, but they're wrong. Deep understanding is what matters, and that is built through time, and that is something that you know immediately. If you gave me a property and gave me a purchase price, an asking price, and the average rent and the number of units, I could tell you if it was even worth my time or not. We talk about our stock channel. I used to make fun of people who would sit there like Jeremy from Financial Education sat there and researched tattooed stuff like crazy because he wanted to fall in love with the business before he looked at the numbers. I looked at the numbers and immediately said, this is a terrible investment. And it went to zero. Falling in love with the story is going to get you into trouble. Understanding the numbers and saying this is a good deal, that's what risk is. Risk is the price you pay. That 10,000 square foot brand new built mansion on the ocean for $1, what's the risk? Your risk is $1. At $1 billion, your risk is $1 billion. Which one has more risk? Research only matters if you know what to focus on. Look at it this way. Those of you out there, I'm assuming you're not doctors and surgeons. If I told you right now, go complete open heart surgery, what would you say to me? You'd be like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is open heart surgery. I got to go understand. Of course. But if you have somebody who's been doing open heart surgery for 20 years, what are they going to do? Yeah, let's go do this. They have a deeper understanding. They have the experience of it. And when I see these experienced investors who've been in it for a long time, but they have these complicated Excel sheets and doing all this analysis, I go, you're really not confident in what you do. Confidence is being able to sift through all the bullshit and make a decision very quickly that's knowledgeable and smart. There's a reason why Warren Buffett always says, when I get a phone call on a Sunday, I know I'm going to make a lot of money because somebody's calling me on a Sunday. It means I need to make a decision very quickly because they need a decision very quickly, which means the price decreases. And it's all about that margin of safety. The proper experience removes unnecessary prep. Now, here's another example. Years ago, when the market crashed, I was buying tons of single family homes for $8,000, $10,000, some as low as $1,500, putting 30 or 40 grand into them. A lot of them I was doing sight unseen. Literally, I would just ask the real estate agent in an email, is the foundation okay? Is it falling in? Because I wanted to make sure if it was, I could go back to the agent and say, you're responsible. And I would buy them all, and I still owned the vast majority of those properties. Years later, a friend of mine that I knew in real estate called me and said, Paul, I invested in a single family home deal years ago during the financial crisis. It's not going well. Would you like to buy these properties? I said, sure, let's do it. He goes, okay, I'm going to put you in touch with the guy who did the deal. So I called the guy. We decided to meet at these properties. Went to the first property. We walked in. Keep in mind, we worked on a deal where I was paying him exactly half what he paid for the properties. Literally half. He bought the properties for he was into the properties for $90,000 per unit. I was buying them for $45,000. This was 15 years ago, 13 years ago. So you can imagine how cheap things were back then. So we walked into the first property. I said hi to the tenants. I went upstairs. I went downstairs. I walked out. Probably 2.5 minutes. He goes, that's it? I go, yeah, let's go to the next property. He goes, that's all you're going to do? I said, and I looked at him and I said, how much time did you spend researching these? He said, well, a lot more than this. I said, great. And you paid double my price. I'm paying half. Let's move on. Yes, it was a slap to him. And he laughed about it. Luckily, he was a guy who understood and said, okay, great. He laughed about it. If that's been said to me, I would have probably punched the guy. But he laughed about it. But I think he understood. Because at the end of the day, but guess what? By the way, those properties have killed it for us. And I literally spent 2 minutes in each house. That's it. I don't need to sit there and understand, hey, what's going on? I look for very few things. The things that I know from my experience will cost me money down the road. Everything else I can handle for very few dollars. But there are a few things I know are going to cost me a lot, and I watch for those. I was paying a low enough price where it didn't even matter. Now, how good was that first deal that I did? That 100-unit apartment complex that I bought unseen. It was my best deal ever. I paid full price. Put $50,000 hard day one. And guys, I've been making 40% returns on that deal since then. I was into that property after renovations, everything for about $4.5 million, and it's currently worth over $12 million. And guess what? My mortgage on it is $6 million. So I got my first $4.5 million back, another $1.5 million tax-free in my pocket, and all that equity and cash flow every single year. If I'd sat there on this trip and said, well, let me think about it for a little bit, I might have lost out on that. I might have lost out on $7.5 million in profit. Why? Because I wanted to take my time. My other properties weren't as nice, getting higher rents. And now this property absolutely I don't even ask my staff about it anymore. It's absolutely irrelevant to me. Why? Because I just know it's going to print money over and over. I knew that day one I get increased rents, and guess what, guys? Very first day I owned it, July of 2015, $540 in rent. We didn't even renovate a unit. Our very first day, we got $710 a month in rent. Great investors manage uncertainty, not by over-researching, but by being prepared before the deal even appears. This is why I always tell people, even if you're not looking at doing real estate now, one of the things we do on our main channel, if you're not able to do covered calls right now, you still need to learn it now, because when the opportunity arises, you need to be able to jump on it like that. So even if you're not ready to buy a piece of real estate right now, still learn. Focus on what actually matters. Price versus value. When I was buying at that price, I thought the value's up here. Even though I was wrong on this value by this much, I still made money. You need to be able to filter the biggest red flags. That's what we're here to teach on this channel. The fastest investors already know their research before the deal existed. Build your knowledge before the deal shows up. Understand what matters in a deal. If the deal's brand new and fully occupied, you have to ask yourself the question, what am I going to do to increase the value of this? If the property is empty, then you sit there and say, I know what the upside is here. And you have to use margin of safety on everything you buy, because the faster you need to work, the more margin of safety you need, because that means you're going to get less information up front. Now, you might sit there and say, well, Paul, you paid full ask. Yes, I wasn't worried about price. I was worried about value. That's the fucking difference. So when people tell me I'm just this guy who wants to get low price, of course, everybody wants a low price. But to me, I want a low price relative to value. That's the difference. My best deal ever, I paid full ask for. It's something I brag about to no end today for those people who say I'm just trying to get a cheap price. My friends will sit there and say, hey, Paul, look at this house. It's $5 million, but I bet you're going to offer $2 million. To which I say, well, if it's worth $2 million, I'll probably offer $1.5 million actually. Just because asking price is X doesn't mean it's worth X. You need to develop a system for quick, confident decisions. If it's checklist, do the checklist. Know your deal criteria ahead of time. Are you trying to get a certain amount of rent for every dollar you pay? Train yourself to recognize true opportunities instantly, or be part of a group that allows you to do that as well. If you're the kind of person who wants to overanalyze, you need to shift that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't analyze, but find out what the most important metrics are and go with those. Identify those 3 to 5 key numbers that truly matter for investing. Commit to making faster decisions as long as they're educated decisions and you have the proper margin of safety. Because if I had hesitated on that deal, I don't know if I would have gotten it still or not, but I wasn't willing to run that risk. Could I have negotiated a little bit better deal? Maybe. But am I willing to risk the deal to save 50 or 100 grand so that to lose out on millions? That's what I'm glad I didn't do. Speed isn't necessarily always the goal. Clarity is. And the clearer you are, the faster you can work. The goal itself isn't speed, it's clarity. Clarity will lead to speed. Speed happens naturally when you know exactly what to do. The best investors aren't gambling. They just know when to make a move. The best investors are making very, very educated, high margin of safety bets. They're not going to be right every time, but when they're wrong, they don't lose much, if at all. So you guys just saw how I bought my best real estate deal completely blind and the exact things that I looked at when making that deal. So join our email list that you have access to any new opportunities, live streams, or masterminds that we launch. Join the list by clicking on the link in the description below. Thank you for your time.